All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our open training call for ZeroPoint Global this morning. And I have the distinct pleasure of introducing a very special woman, Amy Grant, who is our speaker today. I had the pleasure of hearing her speak at our 4th anniversary conference in Las Vegas just a few weeks ago. Amy Grant has built an incredible international network marketing business, setting records and opening 12 different countries. Because of her success in network marketing as well as creating new businesses, she has been recognized as a 2-time recipient of Outstanding Entrepreneur of the Year. A self-made millionaire, Amy is the only woman featured in the book Fortune Builders and How They Did It. Due to her long-time close family ties and friendship with our president, Marvin Higbee, she has agreed to consult with ZeroPoint Global, a great asset to all of us. Today, Amy will be speaking to us about how to create a never-ending list. And so without further ado, we welcome Amy Grant to the call. Take it away, Amy.
Thank you. Well, we're going to have fun in the next few minutes, and I'm just really glad that you are here. So we're going to talk about creating a never-ending list for success. The first thing we always have to ask ourselves is, why are we building a ZeroPoint Global business? That is the number one thing. If you don't know why, there won't be a list made. So you have to ask yourself, what is my vision for my business? And then maybe it would fit into, well, maybe it's part-time for extra income, possibly to earn enough money just to buy my own products. Or do I want to build it so that it actually becomes an income that could replace your full-time income? And for those of you that have great vision and want to help a lot of people, then you think even bigger. And you say, I'm going to do big time. I'm going to create income that's really wealth. When I first started, I was a personnel manager and human resource director for a large department store. And I had 3 little boys at home. I wanted to be home. And when I saw this, you might laugh, you might really laugh, but this is how I got started in network marketing. My best came in for a conference, and so she, of course, after the conference, they had just gotten into network marketing, and she was all excited about telling her friend about it. And so she said, Amy, what you've done is just prepared you for this wonderful thing. You can have your own business. Well, I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. And my dream was to be home. And she said, Amy, in 5 years, you can retire and spend the rest of your life with your family and traveling and serving the Lord. And I said, okay, what is it? Tell me what we do. And she said, this is the perfect plan. There's circles. I just don't know how many. And there's money in those circles, but I just don't know how much. But, Amy, you can retire in 5 years. That was the plan. But I thought, okay, full time, I'm going to go for that great income. I'm going to replace my income. And then as I got to know more and more about the possibilities and losing myself in the service of others, it became big time. So it's important that you start with where you want to be, because the larger your list, the bigger your income. It starts there. So I have to ask you a question and see if you agree. When we believe in something, we actually do it. And to build a list requires action. And unless they're on paper, it's not a list. You're dreaming, you're wishing. When you start making a list, it becomes a business. And you might want to write this saying down. I really like it. The dullest pencil is better than the sharpest mind. The dullest pencil is better than the sharpest mind. So you don't have a prospect list until the names are written down in one specific place. Then keep that notebook or your iPhone where you can keep adding names. But you have to ask yourself, do you really believe in ZeroPoint, or are you just convinced? I think that this could be one of the most important questions I ask you. Are you just convinced of ZeroPoint and what it can do for people, or are you truly converted? There's a big difference, a real big difference. When people are convinced, there's inconsistent action. They don't really believe. They've seen the results, and they're convinced, but they don't have it in their heart yet. And when you are truly converted, when it's really in your heart, and I have to admit, I went to that your 4th year anniversary as a critic, and I became converted, and I love ZeroPoint Global. I love what it stands for. I love what it can do for people. And so, whenever we become truly converted, you're out giving to others, and you help convert them. We become the giver. Can you kind of tell the difference? Inconsistency means you're really not convinced. So when you think of people on your team, and you're always having to pump them up, you're always saying, have you done this? Have you got your list ready? Well, they're just convinced. There seems to be that once it gets in our heart, and once we're really converted, we don't have to have someone else pumping us up. We're there. And so action is a byproduct of being truly converted, and we make it happen. It's the same as planting a garden. If we didn't believe that when we put those seeds in the ground and we nurture them, that they're not going to come out and harvest, we would never plant the seeds. But because we know that those seeds, if they're nurtured properly, will give us a great harvest. And that's exactly the way this business is. So let's just remember, faith and doubt cannot exist in the same person at the same time. They are diabolically opposed to each other. So if you say, I really have faith in ZeroPoint, but then you have little doubts in the back of your mind, guess what? You really have doubt. So we can't fool ourselves. We say, oh, I have faith, but then we doubt different things. Become converted, because it's a choice. It's either one or the other. So faith is the cause of all actions, and the greater our faith in ZeroPoint, the larger our list will be. Now, why? Why is Amy here saying, make a list, write it down? There's 2 reasons. One, we're going to achieve our whys. Without the list, like I said, we're dreaming, we're wishing. We're going to turn this into a business. We're going to achieve our goals and dreams. And then I believe that even more important, if we lose ourselves in the service of others, we get our goals and our dreams as a byproduct. And so how about making a list to improve people's lives, to share ZeroPoint and help them physically and financially? I'd like this to really get into all of our hearts. That name is just not a name on paper that you just wrote down. Every name is someone's needs and desires. I remember having to go to work with that baby on my hip, getting babysitters. And I want to help people that need help, but every single person, there's not anyone today that doesn't have needs and desires that can be fulfilled with ZeroPoint Global. I want to tell you about Nasri. I love Nasri. When I was opening Italy, I went to Rome, and we were having some big hotel meetings. And the first night, this tall, stately man walks in and sits at the back. And there's not much expression on his face. It's just like he's there in body, but he's not there in mind. And he slipped out very quickly afterwards. I couldn't get to him. But the next night, surprisingly, this man walks in again, sits down in the back, but there's a different look on his face. And so I quickly made my way to the back of the hotel room where we were meeting and introduced myself, and much to my pleasure, he spoke English. And I invited him to come to a restaurant. And you guys, whenever you go to Italy, you always want to go to the restaurants. I seem to carry home a few pounds every time I go because I love their food so much. So we were having a group of us go to the restaurant, and I invited him to go with us, and he accepted our invitation. And I was sitting across the table, so it's as though I am looking at him right now. And I'm sitting across the table from him, and his hopeful sponsor is sitting next to me on my left-hand side, and all of a sudden, Nasri begins to sing. I mean, it permeated the whole entire restaurant. Everyone just froze. Waiters froze in their right there in their steps. Everyone stopped talking. There was just this hush that came over. It's like a bird just singing. And so his sponsor-to-be leans over, whispers in my ear, and says, Amy, do you know who leaves their country first when it's in political unrest? And I said, no, I don't. And he said, the arts, the artists. Nasri has never sung since he left his country years ago. He was the top tenor in Lebanon, but he's never sung since he left his country years ago. When Nasri stopped, there were tears running down his eyes. And this is what he said to me. Life was gone for me. Winter had set in. There was no reason to live. Then, last night, you showed me this business. And all day long, my dreams have been coming back. Tonight, there is spring in my heart. I feel like singing again. That was someone who wrote his name on a list. And every time we write a list, we change people's lives. After that, I'd get postcards or every once in a while a phone call. And he would say, hi, spring. Or when he'd write me a note, dear spring, because he realized I had brought spring back in his life. Was it Amy? No, I was just the messenger. I had a message, and you have a message. That message is that people can live a fulfilling life and dream again. And we've got it in our own country today. People are stopping their dreaming. And when you stop dreaming, you lose hope. And when you lose hope, you're not yourself. You don't act the same. So I asked this question, could Nasri's life been changed from hopeless winter to the bright hope of spring without being on someone's list to contact? The answer is absolutely not. Would our efforts be worth it just to bring spring back into people's lives? Absolutely, yes. I just want to share one more with you. This one is Sacco. From Rome, I went into Milano, and Sacco was my city coordinator and leader there. And when we got to the hotel where we were having our meeting, his wife was so pregnant that she said, no, I can't climb the stairs. I'll just sit here in the lobby and wait for you. And I thought, wow, what dedication. And this is what she said. This is very important to our family. This is our future, and I'll do anything to help. So she sat in the lobby. After the meeting, I went down, got a translator, and invited her to go to dinner with us. I found out it was her birthday. She had sat there all alone, so pregnant she couldn't climb the stairs. And so she excused herself, said, no, I'm not feeling well. So Soccer took her home. The next morning she had her, it would have been her 6th child in 8 years. And I stayed there in Milano for 4 days, and at the end of the 4 days, just before I left, I had a group meeting, to solidify things, to get them started on how to get started, how to build, and all of that. And I decided to go around the room and ask what each person's dream was. And Sacco had brought his 2 oldest children. She had an 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son, and they were in the circle, and I actually was going to pass them by. But this little boy, when I got to his spot, he just spoke right up, and he said, because my daddy is in this business, we will have bedrooms. And I thought, I asked the translator, I said, what does he mean, we'll have bedrooms? And the translator said, well, that family of 8 now lives in only a 2-room apartment. That little boy's dream came true. This family has bedrooms. Every name you write on the list has a dream or a goal or a desire that is not being fulfilled. How would I have ever guessed that this man had a little boy who dreamed of having his own room, and every one of their children ended up with their own bedroom. So the greatest act of friendship is to introduce people to ZeroPoint Global and create a never-ending list. This is how we do it. Okay, we're going to first set aside a specific time. That specific time needs to be quiet and uninterrupted, because you're going to start getting the flow, and we're going to start using some memory joggers. And if you're married, you do it together. Even if one is more active than the other, that's okay. But make sure that both of you are sitting down together, because both of you know other people. Or you'll think of someone and the other one says, oh, yeah, I hadn't even thought about them. So you begin to ask your questions. Who do we know? And I have an actual memory jogger, too, and I'll get the company to send that out, because you begin to write down names. Now, as soon as you've done that, this is the most important. You go back and you fill in the contact info. A name without a phone number or an email or any way to contact them is not a real name. Treat your business as a business, and it will pay you as a business. So now we're going to go back and fill in the contact information. And you ask yourself these questions. Who needs better health? Voila, everyone. Who wants to slow down aging? I vote for that. And everyone else does too. And who wants more out of life? Everyone. Who has unfulfilled dreams? I have to tell you, everyone, and we're going to talk about that. You think some people have everything they want? No, they might have everything you want, but they don't have everything they want. So who needs or wants more income? Everyone. So the most important thing is we do not prejudge. We write down every single name that comes. Who would have ever guessed that Nasri or some of the other people that I've met through these years, they need this business? And what about just, if you only put down the baby boomers, what about just the billion people that are turning age 60 or more? And what do they want and need? They want better health. They want to slow down aging. They definitely want more out of life. They've worked all their lives, and they still have unfulfilled dreams, and they need more income. So it's everything that ZeroPoint Global offers. Write their names down. No, thank you. You may change someone from winter to spring. Now let's use some memory joggers. Of course, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, your Christmas card list, wedding lists, fellow club and association members. How about just opening up the phone book and saying, who do we know named Bob? Who do we know named Sarah? Or who do we know whose last name is Smith or Taylor or whatever? Go to your yearbooks. With whom have you kept in touch? Check out your reunion lists. We just finished a class reunion, and guess what? They printed everybody's name and contact information. Hallelujah. So use these memory joggers. I'm going to show you who actually has the motivating factors to grow really fast. And what I find interesting is sometimes when we're making our list, we put down people that we think really need the business, that are down and out, have never succeeded. They're great too. We want to help everyone. But I want to show you who grows the business sometimes faster than anyone. People who are hungry. They really desire more out of life, such as, how about they've had a nice lifestyle and want it back? Oh, my word. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have had a lovely home and now they don't have it. It was foreclosed, or they had to have a short sale. They're yearning to get it back. Or they're well educated, they've had a good job, and they made good money. Now they find themselves without a job. You know, that category of people are really hard. I had a son who was the general manager for one of the biggest Best Buy stores and has done really well. And guess what? They let 30,000 employees go. And because he was one of the highest paid general managers, one of the newest, he was in that 30,000. It took James 3 years to find another executive position. And so it's important that they're looking. They're absolutely looking. And he was taking anything he could find until he could find another position that he loved. How about those that have owned a business and had to close it? I was CEO for a company, and the day that the owner came, who was also the president of the company, and said, Amy, you know that I've co-founded another company that has many investors. There's millions of dollars of investor money laying on the table for that other company. I can't let them lose their money. I'm going to close our company. So that's happening all over too. So think about, who have we known that has a business? Or they moved from their dream home and are now starting over. There's lots of people there. Or if they're lucky, they still have a job, but they feel an urgency to get debt-free. That's everyone too. Or they're visionaries who see what is going on, and they want to make sure their financial future is secure. They are creating an additional income stream. While we're taking notes, I might want to just tell you that network marketing has come of its time. They're expecting in the next 10 years for more people to join network marketing than they have in the last 50 years combined. It's already grown from 6 million people to, I think it was 37 million people in the last 10 years. So you are in the right place to offer these people something that will give them secure income, and they can do it on the side for fun, part-time, and secure their future. So our contact list is endless, endless. We put it down at the very first, the sharpest, most positive people. Then we build on top of that with family and close friends. Then we build with the neighbors and acquaintances, going in then to social networks and making new friends. I would hope that you would take a word or two words out of your vocabulary. Every time I hear someone say, well, this is my warm market and this is my cold market, that makes me shiver. Cold market? Oh, my word, I don't want to go out cold contacting. It just kind of freezes me up. Let's change that. Let's go out and make new friends. Can you feel the difference? Can you just feel that it's friendly, it's fun, let's just go out and make some new friends. One time, my husband and I were featured at a full-page article in the USA Today, and their headlines was, "The world is their playground." It really is, because you're making new friends all the time. And so you create this thing. Now, let's go down to the people that you know that you want to put at the top of the list. And these are sometimes the people that you don't put on the top of the list because you feel maybe a little intimidated or whatever. But keep in mind, the sharpest, most positive, credible, ambitious, high-energy people are who? The ones we just looked on that list and looked at those and thought, wow, there are these people, but do they have needs? Absolutely. You know, I just have to tell you, one time, I was, as I mentioned, personnel manager, human resource director for a large department store. I was interviewing a man. I found this out later, but during the time I was interviewing him for a job, he kept thinking, oh, she'd be so good in network marketing. Oh, I would like to invite her to take a look at my business. Well, he looked around. I had a great office. I had a private secretary, and the store was the most prestigious department store in the area. And guess what he said to himself? No, she wouldn't be interested. He had no idea that while I was working those 50, 60 hours a week, yes, I had a prestigious position, but that's not what I wanted. I was working because I had to. I had to have that income. And so he walked out of my office. My friend came just a couple of weeks later, talked to me about this business. I had to learn it over the phone. There was no one even in my area that was in that business. But fast forward several months, 7 or 8 months, and the company actually had a company statewide meeting, and guess who crossed the stage as a new leader in the area? And he was in the audience and said, oh, my word, I didn't think she'd be interested. That prejudgment cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars because we went on banking $1 million a year. He could have had that in his group, but he chose to say, oh, no, I'll just go to my family and friends. Oh, no, I'll just go with those that I think I can sometimes be socially over rather than feeling a little intimidated. Put their names on the list. Put at the top those with the best attitude, the high energy, the sharpest people you know, the most ambitious, the most successful, the most respected, and those that have the largest circle of influence. I have to tell you about another one, Ted, who was in our group. As I had done a meeting with this before, of make a list, because why? This is next to setting goals and making a commitment. It's the next action. The first action is making your list to actually build a business. So this is what I went over with Ted. And Ted wrote down the name of a millionaire that he just kind of casually knew, but they didn't have any kind of real relationship. But Ted took a deep breath and asked him if he could meet with him for a few minutes. And no, he wouldn't have said a few minutes. He would have said probably half hour or so, and discuss a business. Well, the millionaire said yes. So picture this: the millionaire is sitting behind his huge office desk in this very, very lovely, lavish office. Ted sits across the desk from him, and then has to kind of reach over and illustrate some things on his desk. Today we would do probably a flip chart, or we would do a computer, plan. And by the way, it's coming up for ZeroPoint. We've been working on it ever since convention. I think you're going to love it. So he gave him the plan. And then Ted, before he could say anything else, you'll never guess what that millionaire said. He said, "Ted, can I be a distributor for you?" Ted just about fell off his chair. And then the millionaire said, when I became a millionaire and I wanted to go golfing, or I wanted to do some fun things or travel, I'd call my friends. They were still working. They couldn't go with me, they couldn't get off work, or they couldn't afford it. I see with what you just showed me, I'm going to be a millionaire maker and bring my friends with me. Can you see? Ted would have never guessed. This man was lonely. He'd left his friends behind because he'd made the money and they hadn't. So go to those people. Put them at the top of your list. Then separate them into categories as to how you're going to approach them. And then just keep adding to your list. Keep making new friends. Offer what ZeroPoint Global offers, and you do them the favor. I think that's an attitude thing we really need to look at. When we're offering ZeroPoint Global, we're doing them the favor. They're not doing you the favor. Without ZeroPoint, they're not going to have the advantages that ZeroPoint offers. So everyone has some unfulfilled needs or desires, and allow them to make their own decision. I want to ask you a question. Will everyone say yes? If your phones were not muted, there would be a unanimous, well, no, not everyone's going to say yes. And probably, even if it's 1 out of 10, it's going to be okay. So you just get your own ratios. The more you do it, the more converted you are, the more yeses you get out of your 10, but you just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And for those who do say yes, you have given them a great gift. I really believe that, as I have been helping prepare the product and business presentation for you to have. I have become so converted to the products. They really are really, really critical at a critical time, and you've got them. So every leader started as one name on someone's list. Think about that. One name can become thousands, helping thousands for generations to come. ZeroPoint is here. It's going to last. You're actually just at the beginning of the new wave of energetic self-care. And so think about that name and what it can mean. And I think I'll just share with you a very personal story of mine. We got in to network marketing, and yes, 7 months later I had matched my income. And so within that first year I retired. And then we went on, and in 3.5 years later, my husband retired as a counselor in the school programs and had his master's degree, and we went way over his income, but we wanted to put a year's income in the bank before he retired. And while I was still at the department store, I had come up with a great program as to how to lower our attrition. Whenever you're working with a lot of people, especially salespeople that aren't making a lot of money, you just get a lot of turnover. And so I had worked on this program for so long, and I presented it to the store manager and one of the vice presidents of the company, and they looked at it, and they said, Mrs. Grant, what makes you think that you can come up with a better idea? We have been open, and this is true, we've been open for over 100 years, and you think you can do something better than we can? I went back in my office. I shut the door, and I thought, yes, because you've been in business for 100 years? Isn't there a better way to do business, to keep people now in a different environment? And then I said out loud, with my door shut, what can I do? I am only one person. What can one person do? And then I kind of forgot it and went about my business, built my network marketing business, and I'm sharing this very personal story, but it means a lot to me. We grew to thousands of people, helping thousands. And one night, I was driving home from an open meeting, and I'd been driving for about 2 hours. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning. I'd stayed late counseling people, and all of a sudden, I heard from the back seat of my car, Amy, Amy. And I thought, oh, my word, who's been in the car with me for 2 hours? I looked around. No one was there. And then I just kept driving. I was getting very close to my home, and I heard it again. Amy, Amy. I looked around. There was no one there. I was getting very anxious to get home, and I hurried and drove into my driveway. I was driving in, getting into the garage, and I heard it again. Amy, 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 you are no longer one. You are thousands helping thousands. God had not forgotten a saying that I had said in despair. But this business had allowed me to become one person helping thousands who were in turn helping thousands. And we are on to the second generation of those people that were helped. It all begins by writing their names down. And when you write those names down, you are then going to offer them the business. ZeroPoint Global has the ability to change lives for generations to come. We're not in this for the short term. I know Marvin isn't. When he turned down the company that I had set up appointments for, thinking that, hey, this is a great opportunity for you, and I set up the appointments because I was working in counseling and merging this company with another company, because I do that on the side. I consult with network marketing companies. And I thought this would be a perfect match. Marv comes in, has the interview. They offer him the job. They offer him stock in the company. But he turned it down. I couldn't believe it. Why? Because he couldn't take his staff with him that he absolutely respects and admires, and he couldn't take the people with him that he loves, that he had fallen in love with. And he said, I have to look at this company that would be able to offer what we are all about, and that's energy, and of course, ZeroPoint Global. But as he looked at that, he said, this is the company I'm going to put my future in, and it's going to be forever. I tell you that when you write people's names down, I have now met that great staff that is leading ZeroPoint Global, and Rick Bergen, the founder. You've got the best. So you know that this is going to last for generations. Write people's names down. Do them the favor. Their children, their grandchildren, and generations yet unborn will speak your name with love and gratitude. I know they will. I've got little Amy's all, well, not all over the world, but in several different countries, and even in the USA, because I had all boys. And so their greatest gratitude was to name a little child that came after I'd offered them the business, and they had been able to see a new way of earning an income and helping others. They'd name them Amy. That's the greatest gratitude. I tell you, they will thank you, and so will those children. So, ZeroPoint. You have the opportunity to do incredible good. I believe in your company. I believe in your leadership. And the more I meet of the people in the field, Rick Fleshman and Calvin they came just last weekend as they were doing their tour through the USA, and they were doing Salt Lake City. They stayed at my home, and we had the greatest time. You have got great leadership. So take this opportunity. Do incredible good, physically and financially. It's been great sharing with you, and I'm just going to turn the time back to Carol.